Hello everyone, welcome back to a YouTube channel, The Basic Biology of Life. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about respiration and its types, with special emphasis on anaerobic respiration. So let's start our video. So the first question that arises in our mind is, what is respiration? Respiration is a chemical process in which oxidation of food occurs and energy is produced. It involves the action of various kinds of enzymes. Most of the processes that takes place within cells, like muscle contraction, cell division, growth, etc., needs energy. And this energy is produced from the food that cells take in. Remember, respiration is not to be confused with breathing, which is sometimes also called as respiration. So, we can say that respiration is a cellular process during which food molecules combine with oxygen to release energy. This energy is needed for growth as well as formation and maintenance of our bodies. Now let's see the overall chemical equation for respiration. As we have discussed earlier, the food molecules here combine with oxygen to release energy. This process is called as oxidation and the food is said to be oxidized. The food contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms. The process of oxidation converts carbon to carbon dioxide, hydrogen to water and sets free energy. Prokaryotes and some other organisms that inhabit areas where oxygen is absent, for example waterlogged soil or stagnant pond, engage in anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration or fermentation is another pathway that degrades glucose without the use of oxygen. The two common types of fermentation are alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is carried out by yeast, which is a unicellular fungi, and by certain plant cells. Lactic acid fermentation is carried out by certain bacteria that makes milk sour. Human cells too, under conditions of insufficient oxygen, use lactic acid fermentation to produce energy. The lactic acid built up causes fatigue and muscle cramps after heavy exercise. From the discussion so far, we can conclude that respiration is a cellular process and cells use different catabolic pathways to produce energy, namely aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. The type of catabolic pathway that cell use will depend upon the type of environment it inhabits. For example, if a cell lives in an environment where oxygen is plentiful, it uses aerobic pathway, while if it inhabits waterlogged soil or polluted water with insufficient oxygen, it uses anaerobic pathway. The pathway common to both aerobic and anaerobic respiration is glycolysis. Glycolysis is actually an anaerobic process which occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. After finishing glycolysis, cell continues either anaerobic or aerobic respiration depending upon the oxygen availability. At the end of glycolysis, two pyruvic acid molecules are formed and cells can handle pyruvic acid in three different ways. The cells enter either lactic acid fermentation, alcoholic fermentation or aerobic respiration depending upon the availability of oxygen. Let's first look at alcoholic fermentation in detail. In the first step, pyruvate is decarboxylated and carbon dioxide leaves to form acetaldehyde. In the second step, alcohol dehydrogenase transfers hydrogen from NADH to the acetaldehyde to form NAD and ethanol. Thus, in alcoholic fermentation, two enzymes are required, that is pyruvate decarboxylase and alcohol dehydrogenase. In lactic acid fermentation, pyruvate is acted under anaerobic conditions by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. Hydrogen from NADH is transferred to pyruvate, which results in the formation of lactate, and finally lactic acid is formed. So, after glycolysis, NADH is converted back to NAD, which is its oxidized form. So in both lactic acid and alcoholic fermentation, there is a net gain of only 2 ATP per glucose molecule.